So our rabbis tell us 12 days before Rosh Hashanah is very, very special. Why? Because people that have neglected, think about their new year, think about what they can do new. 12 days, each day resembles 1 month of the year. And we really can repair everything a day per month. We call it Yom L'Chodesh, a day per month. And our rabbis were very serious. It doesn't matter what, where, what you did till now. Today is the birthday of two luminaries, two luminaries they call them, who changed the whole world with their teachings. One is the Baal Shem Tov, Rabbi Yisrael Baal Shem Tov, who he was the founder of the Hasidic movement, and his third generation, the Alter Rebbe Rav Shur Zalman of Liadi, the author of the Tanya. If you remember last time when I gave my class last Thursday night, I spoke about emotions, that there were like emotional Hasidim, you know, like the statues, the little lalkalach, the little dolls, Hasidic dolls you bring back from Israel. Remember, I spoke about what you bring for your tante, the hand, with the violin, emotions, joy. All Hasidim are like that. That is a chassid. Chabad chassidus is very different. Chabad chassidus is more intellect, which brings to those emotions. In other words, by all of the Hasidim, they hear something from their Rebbe, they get all inspired about it, all excited about it, and they go on. Chabad Hasidim, Lubavitch, we are trained Chachma Bina Das. That's why we're called Chabad. We use our intellect. Do it yourself. Work for it. When the Lubavitcher Rebbe in 1951, when the Lubavitcher Rebbe took leadership, he said one thing: don't think we're going to be like the Polish Chassidim, the Polish Chassidim. You want me to be the Rebbe? I'll be your Rebbe. But don't think that I'm going to just give it to you on a silver platter, everything. You're going to have to work for it. That's why you are Chabad Chassidim. You have to think. I will guide you. I will help you. But you have to think. What's the difference? Let me explain. Did you ever go into a place, experience of going into a place, and everyone's cheering, and everyone's dancing and yelling and happy?
Tonight.
What do you think your reaction is going to be then?
Cheering and happy.
That's it, because it's contagious.
Beautiful.
Cheering and happy. The good part about that? It's called inspiration. What's the good part about being inspired, inspiration? You don't have to work for it. And it takes you to a place you can't get to on your own. You don't have to work for it. You're there. Everyone cheering, you're cheering. Everyone jumping, you're jumping. Everyone's yelling, yay! You're yelling, yay. Right? Doing the same thing. That's great. You don't have to work for it. What is the downside about it? It stops. When it stops, you stop. Inspiration's over. Did you ever have an experience that you're getting all this information, a lecture type of deal, hearing all the information, and you don't really get it, and you might even get frustrated and bored? I hope this isn't one of those lectures. And you get frustrated because you really don't understand it. And then you go home and you start thinking it over. The rabbi meant, that's what the professor meant. That's great. So what's the upside in that?
You're by yourself.
You got it. What's the downside?
You're by yourself.
You have to work for it. You have to work. What does that mean, you have to work? Doesn't come from here. No emotions. We don't use our emotions. We use our intellect. In Tanya, that we learn, one of the greatest sayings of Rabbi Shneur Zalman, the author of the Tanya, one of his greatest sayings is, a person is comprised of two components. One is the seichel, which is the intellect. One is the leiv, the heart, which is emotions. It says Rabbi Shneur Zalman of Liadi, it's got to be moyach shoylet ala leiv. The intellect has to rule on the emotions, and not the emotions on the intellect. Why? Where do you see that the emotions rule the intellect? The animalistic soul, the nefesh habahamis, the animalistic soul. Everything's emotions. I feel like doing what I want, I do it. I feel like doing it with whoever I want, I do it with whoever I want. Today's a new day and age. You do anything you want with whoever you want, wherever you want, however you want. Emotions. That's the nefesh habahamis, the animalistic soul. That's the whole theme of Tanya. But, says the Alter Rebbe, if we use our intellect, whatever we use our intellect for, it's hard. It's rough sometimes. And sometimes it even hurts using your intellect. But then it becomes yours. Intellect turns everything into yours. Emotions have broken up the greatest relationships. Marriages, businesses, partners, friendships, all emotion. That's animalistic. Godly is, I'm using my seichel. You'll never find, like I've said in the past, an animal will never say, I made a mistake. Only that was given a gift to the humans, to be able to say, I made a mistake. That's godly. And we all have it inside of us. Another difference is with emotions. Remember, we're talking about emotions and intellect. One is dependence, and one is not dependence, which means as follows. I'm in shul now. I'm inspired. That's great. I'm excited. When I go out of shul, that inspiration's gone. That means I'm dependent, my emotions are dependent on where I am. So the Alter Rebbe speaks about godliness in Tanya, in Judaism. By the way, when we mention godliness, we're talking Judaism. Okay? Now when I go to another place to party, could be a kosher party, but now my enthusiasm and my emotions are over there. When I leave that, it's gone. But what happens when you use your intellect, says Alter Rebbe in Tanya, and you start using your intellect to understand godliness? And now I understand godliness, even though I might not be able to read Hebrew well. I might not even be able to learn Talmud. But I learned there is in every person a nefesh elokis, a godly soul. And I absorb that. Now when I'm in shul, do I have that godly soul inside of me? Yes. And I'm inspired by that godly soul. But now I walk outside, I'm still inspired. Why? The godly soul, I understand, is always inside of me. Even if I go to Kalamazoo, it's still still there. That inspiration now is no more inspiration, it's mine. Take something physical and make it spiritual. Says the Tanya, because why did God create the world? As it says on our curtain on the ark, that God wanted to make a dira le'elyonim b'tachtena, a dwelling place for himself down here. And how do we make a dwelling place for God down here? He doesn't need his angels up there, he wants us. How do we make a dwelling place? By using our physicality and making it spiritual. Making out of it spirituality. What does that mean? There's nothing wrong with going on vacation. There's nothing wrong with enjoying digging into a steak. But remember, when we have a good steak, there's something called a bracha, a blessing we make on the steak. Forget about the steak, simple cup of water. Where is all our food? Where is all our vegetables? Where is all our sushi? Everything coming from? I'm not letting you go. Where's everything coming from? God. It's coming from God. How can we eat something without saying thank you, God? God is always inside of us. Says the Tanya, no matter what, go on your vacation. Don't leave God behind. Don't leave God behind. He's with you. Because you don't want him to leave you behind, God forbid. That's the Tanya. Tanya tells you who you are and what you are. And not only that, you know, sometimes we look at ourselves in the mirror and we say, who are we really? Who are we? You know, believe it or not, that's one thing I'll tell you. Sometimes I think about that. Who am I? Why was I put on this world? Why was I put on this world at this time, in this period, to this set of parents, with these siblings? I look at myself and I figure, wow, but I need this, I need that, I need this, and then I realize, wait a minute. Who I really am is not who I am. Who I really am is what I do, not what I am. What you are, and in short, Chassidus tells you, you know who you are? It doesn't matter right now. Right now, almost 8:30 at night, on Chai Elul, right? The 17th of September, I believe today, right? Doesn't matter what we did before that. Right now, look in the mirror and see your potential. Right now, look at yourself and see how holy you are. You don't understand, says the Alter Rebbe, the Baal Shem Tov, and Chassidus tells us. You don't understand the spirituality each one of us sitting here have inside of us. But Rabbi, come on, Rabbi, you've been in yeshiva all your years. I never went to yeshiva. I never had your background. Look at me, look at you, look at him, look at her. Chassidus says, so what? So what? It doesn't take away from the fact that each one of us sitting here has inside of us a chelek Elokai mimal mamish, a spark of godliness. And not like a spark of godliness. Says Alter Rebbe, a chelek Elokai mimal mamish, an actual spark of godliness. You are holy. And you're down here with a potential for a mission. Go for it. Stop using your emotions. Start using your intellect. Stop looking for the covenant to fit in. Remember, life is to accomplish. Time is ticking away. Says Alter Rebbe, no one's telling you to be perfect. All we want is for you, says Alter Rebbe, to be better. So now, my dear friends, it's coming Rosh Hashanah. The world is upside down. But you know what? None of us are going to change the world. I promise you, none of us sitting here, whether we're Republican, Democrats, we're not changing the world. So, you know what? Let's change the community. I'm telling you, none of you are changing the community. I'll tell you why. So let's change our own block. But even that's going to be impossible. First, we have to change ourselves. Comes now Rosh Hashanah, a new year. Forget about a new year. Every day is a new day. Did you ever get up in the morning and think to yourself, how can I be better today than yesterday? Or are we going on the doggy-dog world and just go with the flow, and another day, another work, and this, and another sports game, and another this game, and another that, and another casino, and another. Good, next. Now what? What did we accomplish? Are you telling me that's what God put us down on this world for? To enjoy ourselves? Or for us to make the world a better world by changing ourselves? When we make ourselves better, the world becomes better. It says, Alter Rebbe says in Tanya, we become better, the air that we breathe becomes better. And if you don't believe this, let me tell you something. Then we don't believe in spirituality. Then if we don't believe in spirituality, God's out the window. So my advice to everyone, and I urge everyone, no one's telling you, walk out of here and grow payas with a beard, and no one's saying that. What we are saying is, Rosh Hashanah is coming. How are we going to be better spouses? How are we going to be better people? How are we going to be better humans? And how are we going to be better Jews? And I don't mean, with all due respect to everyone, and I don't mean to hurt anyone, I'm not talking anymore about this cardiac Jew. I'm the Jew in the heart. Okay? That doesn't make sense even. I'm talking about everyone living a little more as a Jew should. Putting God into our lives, into our families. Let Him in! All He will give us is blessings. Nachas, good health and success. The same thing we're going to daven to Him on Rosh Hashanah. Zachleinu l'chaim v'l'chafetz l'chaim. Please remember us for life. Write us on the end of the book of life. What are we doing for Him? We want and we want and we want. We need. Let's think a little bit what we're needed for. Now let me tell everyone here. Just because I wear a kapota and I have a beard, and some of us will walk out and take off our kippahs, doesn't make me more Jewish than anyone else here. We're not talking about that. We're talking about each one of us know ourselves the best. Let's make ourselves a little more Jewish. For ourselves, for God, and ultimately for our children and our grandchildren, for our families, for good health, happiness, success, and an unbelievable year full of peace, not only peace of war, but peace within ourselves, inner peace. ask for peace. Before you start changing world economics and world peace, okay? I don't think anyone is getting into any tanks or getting into any jeeps, army jeeps, and going to fight and changing the world if there's going to be a war or not. We need peace within ourselves first. And if we do that, we will have such better lives this coming year. With God's help, I wish everyone here a good Gebet Shior, Lashana Teva V'Sukkah, a sweet year, a happy year, a healthy year, and a peaceful year full of inner peace, happiness, and success. Thank you.
Amen.